everybody. Welcome into the Eric St. Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures each and every day of the work week, wearing the same hooded sweatshirt that I wore yesterday. Yep, it's Anthony Cumia talked about this some time ago. You go to bed, you take off your gear, you throw it by the side of the bed, especially on the weekend. You wake up, it's like, I'm cold. Put on those clothes. Who cares? You're going to be seen by millions and millions of people when you do your podcast. It's at this stage of the game that I cannot muster up the ability to care. I must say, though, I really am dialed in on the hair cutting. The widow's peak is really, really prominent today. Kyler is right. E, how are you? Good to see you. It's funny, I was just talking about Anthony, and then there you are. Holy shit. But that's true. You wake up in the morning, you throw on the same shit that you had the day before. And when you're a schlep like me, who rarely leaves the house, fuck it. You know? I mean, this is living the high life. So, as we get started, I just had a scenario here at the household that was absolutely incredible. And it is concerning my brother-in-law that I, of course, as you all know, I take care of. The NFK, which stands for No Filter Kevin. This is my wife's brother. He does have brain damage after surgery to his brain in the 1990s. He had a temporal lobe lobotomy, which removed a large portion of his brain. Why? Why would they do that? Well, he had the worst case of epilepsy that has ever epilepsied. And I remember when Diane and I first started dating, I'm 18 years old, and I ended up going to her house and meeting her family for the first time, and there's her brother, the guy who's downstairs right now. And she goes, oh, by the way, he has epilepsy. If he has a seizure, just don't worry. We've got this under control. So I'm like, what the fuck? I've never seen this. I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, we're sitting there watching a football game, and he starts going, and I'm like, she goes, uh-oh. And everybody's like freaking out. And then the TV's like in front of us, and he starts looking off into the distance. He's going into a grand mal seizure. Woo! And they grab him, they put him down on the carpet. Then Diana's dad, these are hillbillies, get his wallet. And I'm like, well, why? I'm like, why do you need his wallet? He was gonna rob him? What the fuck are you doing? And they take the wallet, they shove it in his fucking mouth. So he can't bite off his tongue. And they've got it down. All right? They've got it. And I'm like, holy shit, what am I getting myself into here? I had to break up with this chick now so I don't have to see this shit anymore. Well, he comes out of it, and the period after a seizure, a grand mal seizure, is called postictal. Don't know why it's called that. Post, P-O-S-T, dictal. And I don't know what the hell that means. I just know, oh, no, he's post-dictal. I'm like, he's post-dictal. What the, huh? And that means you're really loopy and out of it. And he won't remember this either. By the way, prior to ending the seizure, Diana opens up his mouth and digs out his chewing tobacco with her finger. I'm like, what the and she's like, oh, Jesus Christ, throws it on the carpet. What the fuck? He wakes up, finally comes out of it, and he goes, big wad of phlegm and disease and tobacco and whatever. And go, poof. And if you happen to be in the blast zone, he's going to spit on you, which has happened. Poof. Gone. And it's a big wad of fucking quivering disease on the carpet. Dog wants to eat it. Get the fucking brandy away. What the fuck is going on? Holy shit. So, all right, we prop him up, and he's just a disaster. Now, this happened for years, and they kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then the doc finally pinpoints, all right, I want to do this risky surgery, but I think I got it figured out, the problem. But we need to go and dig out a hunk of his brain. All right. Anything's better because it was going to kill him. So they did that, and it cured him. He does not have seizures anymore. But now it has affected portions of his brain that make my life difficult now, because after the death of Diana's brother 2 months ago, this is the last living relative. So there's no discussion. I didn't even bother because he lived with his brother, David. When David died, I didn't bother saying, hey, honey, why don't we have a family meeting? And then, bring up putting him in a home or something. I didn't even bother doing that. I just said, well, let's welcome him in. Let's bring him on into the household. And frankly, that is the right thing to do. But, this is at the same time that my youngest child moves out of the house. We're empty nesters. And then we bring in. So we're not empty nesters. Whatever. So you all know about the amount of care that is being that I work from home, it makes me the perfect nurse. Doing what I do right now. So the other day he gets a piece of mail, which I talked to you about, that said, hey, Kevy, it's time for you to get your asshole checked. Now, this is not he does need a proctologist to examine him because he's of age, but they want him to take a dump and then get a little sample and put it onto a card. Some of us have to do this from time to time. And then you let it dry. It's horrendous. And then you put the card into an envelope and you mail it back to this lab, and then they determine whether or not you're going to die or have colon cancer. Whatever, colon health. It's a messy job, but what the fuck? Now, as I've described to you, when he moved in with us, he did not get any medical care for the years leading up to that, other than getting his brain ripped apart. So Diana is adamant. So we've been doing all these medical exams and shit like that. Real fixer-upper. We're trying to flip this house, flip his body. And so I get the mail, and since I am the primary caregiver, I have to give him showers, all this shit. But he's known, as you know, for freaking out all the fucking time over the littlest shit, and that has to do with the damage to his brain. He doesn't have a filter. He doesn't have the ability to discern and okay, what's a big problem? What's not a big problem? It's just like a light switch, calm to enraged. So that makes life fun here. He gets this piece of mail saying, hey, we are sending your test kit. This is 2 weeks ago. Well, I saw it, and I sometimes open his healthcare mail because I'm in charge of this shit. If he would do it, it wouldn't happen. He'd just throw it in the garbage. And caregiver says, we're going to be sending the kit. It's like a warning letter. I talked to you about it. In fact, I think it's right over here somewhere. I read it to you. If he knew I'm reading his mail on the air, holy shit. So yesterday, I get home and I see the kit on the center island in the kitchen. And I go, oh, good. This came. So I got to now then explain to him about what to do, which is a disaster because, again, his hands don't work like yours and mine. And, but I don't want to be on the business end of a pile of shit in the toilet and taking a tongue depressor and scooping a turd out and putting it on the card. So I have to kind of figure out, hey, how he can do this. So the kit is on the island. I grabbed the kit last night and bring it upstairs. And I'm going to figure out how we can manipulate this so that we can get the test taken care of. But what I don't know is he has seen that he got the mail. So this morning, I come up here to take care of this shit. My wife leaves for work, and I get a text message. My brother is on the warpath. And I'm like, what? And she says, did you happen to grab a piece of mail? And I'm like, uh-oh. And now this is the type of guy who, as I've detailed with you before, if they don't have, if we're at the grocery store and they don't have the Chinese food he wants, the frozen food, he's going to give the fucking freezer the middle finger. He referred to the sweater that came off of his shoulder when we were surrounded by children as a effing N-word, and gave it the finger while it was on the ground at the nature fucking museum we were in. And I'm like, dude. So he's erupting because he can't find his mail. And I thought something was up because while I'm up here, I can hear, and he's stomping around like an animal. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing down there? And then I get Diana's like, yeah, he's on the warpath and he's hunting for this mail. Did you touch it? And I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, I did. She goes, you better get after it. You better go down there and talk to him. So I grab the mail and I go, oh, hey, I just talked to Diana. And well, I go, hey, Kevin. He goes, yeah. I go, hey, buddy, just talked to your sister. You're looking for a piece of mail. You're goddamn right I am. It was right over there, and now it's not there. And I go, oh, I just realized I accidentally brought it upstairs. I got it right here. He goes, yeah? I go, yeah. In fact, I know what this is. And he goes, I go, this is, every so often the docs want you to give a stool sample. And so this is no big deal. We just get a little scoopy, wipey, dry, send it back. And he goes, they goddamn did that to me before. I've done this. I go, yeah, I know, but things change. That was probably years ago, right? Yeah. And he's yelling at me. I go, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I think they just want to have another glimpse under a microscope. This is easy peasy. You throw in words like that when you're trying to settle down the savage beast. And I go, yeah, this is nothing. So he grabs it out of my hand and he walks over to where I originally got it and sets the fucking thing down. And he's like, just, huh. And I'm like, okay, all right. Now, over time, LJ Guy writes, wipes the shit off the microwave buttons. That should be a good sample. Oh, my God, you're so right. My God. All right, so that's how the day started today. And what's beautiful is just moments before sitting down here to do this show, I'm like, boy, what the fuck am I going to open with? What the fuck am I going to do? And then I went, oh, thank God this happened. So, all right. Now I have to break this down with them because the way this kit is, you open it up and there's it's like a piece of paper that doesn't absorb water. It's almost like taking fucking loose leaf paper or printer paper and setting it in the toilet on the water, okay? And then you take a dump on it. So it's like there floating. And then it comes, here's your kit, that paper, this card, and a tongue depressor. And then you dig in there, you grab it and wipe, and then that's it. And then you have to let it dry. Now, his hands don't work like ours. We talked about that. So I'm struggling about whether I should see if he can do that, running it up his flagpole, or if I have to be on the business end of yesterday's Jimmy Dean sausage sandwich to do this deal. So, fuck. I'm going to actually ask him, do you want me to do this? Because I will do it. I will do it if you don't think your hands can manipulate the tongue depressor. The last thing I want is you to get it on your hands and then run it through your hair and fuck me. All right. Today's also a very, very big day for your old pal Eric Zane because I'm headed out to a live version of Who Are These Podcasts, which is kind of in my neck of the woods in Ferndale, Michigan, right next to Detroit, Woodward Avenue. I know it well. That's where I grew up. Holy shit. And Carl is driving over from Rochester. Hopefully he doesn't get stopped at the Canadian border. And then we're going to do the show live. We're reviewing a really horrible show called Mike and John Got It Going On. It is Jocktober, which has been Carl has kind of stolen Jocktober from the aforementioned Eric Nagel's show, former show, the Opie and Anthony show. And so we're going to be reviewing that live in front of 300 people. I'm very nervous about this. I threw up yesterday. I was so nervous because not only am I going to be in front of people doing the show, I just hope I'm not a fucking idiot. That is always a concern. But I will be there on the stage, not only with Carl, but with the Drew and Mike show. Now, that's intimidating for me. It really is, because when I was getting my start in radio, this was the show that I was like, oh, my God. You know, they were on in Detroit, and I was like, fucking A. And I really looked up to them. So now, oh, my God, I'm nervous about fucking this up. In fact, I did actually work there for a short period of time and made an asshole of myself because I was miserable in doing what I do at the time. I was very young in this industry and just sucked tons of shit. Even more so than what I do now. But now that show is off of the radio and is making a killing doing a daily podcast with a ensemble cast. And then, so it's going to be me, Carl, the Drew and Mike show, reviewing the show. In fact, if you want to go to this thing, you can actually still get tickets. You go to WATP Live and you can get a ticket. All right. So that is, now the way this unfolds for me today, it's remarkable because I got to get all my shit done here today, drive all the way to Detroit, do the show, get done with the show, 10, 11 o'clock at night, get in the car, drive 3 hours. What? What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, all those idiots are probably going to sit there and get drunk and smoke pot and have an orgy. And I'm like, see you later, I'm leaving. But that's what's on tap. That is what's on tap. There was some football last night. I'm going to get to that in a second. Oh, my God. Did you see his deal with Tua? But first, before we do that, I'm going to say goodbye to the audience on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you would, so that you can get the show uninterrupted, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, go to twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Hit follow, give yourself a little username, and then you can have fun in the chat. And off you go. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. And as always, download this podcast on audio, either at ericzaneshow.com or wherever you download shows.